Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Happy you can join us. And this week, I'm really delighted to have somebody who probably doesn't need a big introduction. Many of you who read Sea Watch books know about him, Ab Hoving and his son Emil. And welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Well, thank you for inviting us.
Absolutely. And you guys are coming all the way from Amsterdam, I believe, correct?
Well, it's Alkmaar, but that's almost correct.
Okay.
Makes a difference of 50 kilometers or something like that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And Ab, I guess let's start with you and give us a little bit about your background. You've had a very storied career and something that I think ship modelers would envy and love to have your career. So tell us a little bit about your background, how you got started, and I guess from the time you started modeling as a kid up until, and I hate to pronounce this incorrectly, but the Rijksmuseum.
Rijksmuseum.
Rijksmuseum. Okay, thank you. So yeah, give us a little bit of history on you.
Well, I was trained as a school teacher, and that was, I think I did that for 20 years,
Oh, wow.
first in the lower classes and the last 10 years in sort of high school,
Yeah, sort of a high school.
sort
Yeah.
of high school.
Okay. What'd you teach?
Well, the first 10 years, it was just a general program for children up to 12.
Okay.
So
Everything. Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And the last 10 years, I was teaching woodworks, metal, that sort of stuff.
So were you, I guess, how did you get started in modeling and, how did you then integrate that into teaching and then, um, into the museum? So like, how'd you leave, talk about the modeling and then kind of how you went from teaching to the Rijksmuseum.
Yeah, well, I've been modeling all my life. That's the first thing I can say, because in the time that I grew up, it was shortly after the Second World War. There was not much stuff to keep children busy, so I had to improvise, and that's proved to be a very good school. Ships I also did, but planes as well. Anything that had to do with construction, I liked that very much, and but I had to study and became a school teacher, and then model building was more or less on a lower,
Right.
yeah. But after or during building up my family, I started teaching on a school for very difficult children,
Okay.
and you could get an appointment there if you had a certain degree in what is handvaardigheid.
Well, woodworking in this case, in the subject you were going to teach anyway.
Yeah, it was wider. It was not only woodworking. It was working with clay, with leather, with paper, with anything you can think of, and art history and the whole stuff. And I did that in the evening time.
Okay.
And after 10 years in the first school, I got a promotion, you could say, to the high school, and but the education I got was, for instance, from an old cabinet maker
Mm.
who teaches us how to construct any wooden constructions.
Yeah, yeah. Complicated dovetails and stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it inspired me very much to get back to shipbuilding.
Okay.
And the only thing I wanted to build were Dutch ships, because they appeal to me very much from the paintings you can see. And well, I noticed that actually there was nothing around about these ships. You could,
No.
there were no kids,
Mhm.
books, there was nothing.
There still hardly are. It's still the
No,
Victory and the
it
Cutty
has,
Sark and everybody
Right.
knows it.
for Dutch stuff, it has become better. It's improving.
Which is kind of ironic because it's really the birthplace of that kind of commercial shipping, right? I mean,
That's what I thought too, but there was something strange. In fact, there are only two books written in the 17th century about shipbuilding. And for historians, they are too technical. And for technical people, they are too historic. So there is a gap. And for some reason, I fitted in that gap.
Mm.
So what I did was I took these original works and tried to make sense of them, which was quite a job because they are rather impenetrable, the way they were written.
And this is Witsen, is that correct?
Yeah.
Bitson and another one from Egg are both books about this size and written in old language and about terms we have long forgotten. And
You literally cut them to pieces to put them in any kind of sequence that made sense.
well, I copied them first. I did
The originals,
but
but
not attack the
no,
books.
but there were pieces everywhere.
Yeah.
This fits here and this fits there. Why is
Oh,
it?
wow.
I had about 1,200 pieces laying on the ground, small snippets of paper, and trying to find out which was which. And then Emil opened the door, wind force.
Oh, jeez.
Well, he's better now, but the stitches has all. But in the end, I ended up with a model that was described by Whitson, and I had it finished about a week, and then it disappeared into the local museum,
Mhm.
which was, let's say, I was a recommendation in fact, and it helped. But during that study, I found out that both books describe different ways of building.
Mm.
I was looking for literature about why that was and how come. And there was nothing. So what I did was I wrote down what I found out and published it in model building magazines in English, Shipwright, very nice
Yep.
magazine. And then there was one of the people who read those things. He said, "Well, in '88 you should be in Amsterdam. There's a symposium for ship's archaeologists, and this story about what these two methods might be something appealing to many of the public."
That was the shell first or the frames first.
Yeah. So I boldly rushed in and
Where no man had gone before. Yes.
I held my speech, and I was collecting my slides afterwards, and I was tapped on the shoulder, and there was a little man. He said, "Would you like a job in the Rijksmuseum?"
Oh, wow.
Well, he became my boss.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of the real career, I should say, in all modesty. And I went into Rijksmuseum in '89 and left it in 2012. And in the meantime, I had responsibility for the large collection of ship model and sword-like stuff the museum held. And well, every day was a party.
And you were in charge of the collection, and were you also doing all the restoration and repair work as well, or?
That was the job. that was the job. So I came in, and the collection was in a bad state.
Mhm.
Because Rijksmuseum changed from a museum of history into an art museum, and all historic stuff was more or less less
Yeah.
well stored in the attic.
Yeah. If it
And-
doesn't fit through the door, push a little harder.
Wow.
That is historical. And so I started on an attic, literally in one of the towers. In the summer, it was almost 40 degrees, and in winter, 14.
Ideal conditions for models, of course.
Absolutely.
Well, I must say that Rijksmuseum did improve on that point.
Right.
There are beautiful stores nowadays, and the most part of the collection is can be seen is in the
Yeah. There's a sort of basement floor. And it's
Okay.
built with these models.
Gotcha. And let's pause there for a sec, because Emil, I want to get to you. And I've I know you've helped out. You've done a lot of the design of the books that Ab has done. Are you a ship modeler yourself? Kind of, what's your background?
No, I've never built a ship model. No, I was too busy building guitars at that point. I guess
Okay.
the ships didn't come into it. I went to art school, and I'm one of the few people who actually works in that chosen field. I'm a graphics designer. That's my job.
Okay.
I do a lot of photography and other stuff, but somehow modeling always creeps in. I do graphic design now at a modeling firm in Amsterdam.
Oh, interesting.
Architect, you probably seen some of their stuff,
Okay.
but they make kits and ready-made models, mostly HO gauge for train-like setups. And I do everything that's 2D for them. So someone has to draw the decals that go with kits. Someone has to draw the building instructions, make the pictures, make the boxes for other products. All kinds of manuals, all kinds of stuff is needed to get a model.
Right.
So there's some graphic design going on.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, and you designed at the most recent book we did on paper models, and I think a couple of the other ones too, right? The Dutch merchant ships too.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one. And
Yeah.
I see the list behind you.
Yes, and I've got. I don't know if it'll show, but I got. Yeah. This.
Oh,
There we go. Ah, doesn't work, but we'll put a screenshot up on it. And one of the coolest things with that, and I know you actually have a section in the book on it, is bringing Ab's model to like into a computer, like really bringing it to life in many ways, like working it into art. Like, can you talk about that? How'd you start doing that?
well, that started at Architect where I worked, shooting train layouts. But
Okay.
when you do that, you always see the edges and somewhere the trees stop, and that breaks the illusion. So we started adding skies and adding smoke to locomotives and that sort of thing, and it became a lot nicer to look at. And then he went, "Can you do that for ships?" So we tried. Well, no at first, but keep going. So we kept refining it from there.
In the end, it worked out well.
In the end,
Yeah.
it worked. And
Yeah,
that's
it worked out really well. I think they look
beginning,
fabulous.
it was trying to make things look kind of realistic, but after 10 or so, that's not good enough anymore. Then it has to be historically accurate, and the place where you put it has to be accurate,
And the picture has to tell a story.
and the picture has to tell a story, and you can't get it from the wrong side, because then the light is coming from the north and the sun doesn't come from the north, that sort of thing. So you start getting deeper and deeper into it once the technical side of it is easier.
Right. Yeah. So once that you got the technical things worked out, then it is truly art at that point, right? I mean, now you have to like do all these things and take, and exactly what you said, worry about all these little details that you probably only know on a subconscious level as a typical viewer.
So we're always very careful because you might want to change something later on. Whenever a ship is finished, we photograph it, like I described in the book,
Mhm.
on an even background, and we rotate it with small increments, so you always have something to fall back on. If you put something in the water and you go, yeah, it should sail a little more to the right. Okay, next picture. Is that better?
Yeah. Very cool. That's so interesting. Um, Now, Ab, going back to your time at the Rijksmuseum, I know I just love to kind of hear some of your stories, like, some of the more interesting things you worked on, or I know for one thing I'd actually like to hear a little bit about, because I know you had worked with Rob Napier on Vulcanessa when he was restoring that at the in Boston, correct?
Well, I didn't work on it. I invited him over here because he was working on one of our historical heritages. I thought it was important that he got the right information to do the job.
Right.
So I got him here and I dragged him along all the museums where things more or less important for him were to be seen, and making sure that he made contact with the people in charge so he could get back to them where he needed that. But I've never been to Boston, so
Oh, so you haven't even seen the finished.
seen the ship.
Oh, wow. You got to do that. You got to get out there.
Well, but I'm afraid my traveling days are over.
Oh. So what were some of your more challenging or your favorite projects at the museum?
Well, all the projects were challenging. There was many restorers for paintings or whatever you can restore have a sort of ways to do it, classified ways to do it. If this, then this. Every ship model I got in my hands was different, and the problems with them were different. So every thing you take and want to improve its condition, you have to find out and invent a cure. But that makes the work also very interesting. And apart from that, the material you work with is of course amazing, because imagine rigging and unrigging a 4.5 meters long 17th century model. That is something not many people can boast of.
Yeah, is that the William Rex?
For several times, because the model had to be replaced in the museum, and I couldn't get out of the wards where it was exposed. So the masts had to come off and be put back again without leaving you with parts that were not replaced.
Right, right. Is that the William Rex you're talking about?
That's the William Rex,
thing
Yeah, yeah.
Besides the work in the museum, there was also a lot of work outside the museum, because I was just in that period there were projects for reconstructing replicas of historical ships. And
Okay.
with such projects a lot because I thought it was interesting. I was always interested in the way the shipbuilders did their work. How did they manage to nail something together and sail around the world several times without any serious problems? Well, but nevertheless, they managed to do that, and it is most interesting to find out how that was. And I must say, because there was nothing published, the only thing to get to these things was trying things out in full size.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I have published a number of things of which I would later say, well, that was not a very handy way to look at things. It's a slow process. It's what did we call it? It was advanced insight.
Yeah. Progressing, what's the term? Yeah.
Now,
Learn over the years.
Yeah.
did the Dutch, I mean, are there plans that survive of these vessels? Did they not like have plans like the English did, or what's the difference there?
Nothing, but don't exaggerate the English plans too. There's not much. What they did write down was the methods of constructing.
Mm.
That was hardly done in Holland, which gives the impression that they just did anything. Well, they didn't.
No, there weren't drawings, but there was like a recipe.
Got
Yes.
it. Okay.
They wrote every commission that was placed from a commissioner to a shipbuilder was noted down by a notary, and in the papers many dimensions and parts of the ships were mentioned.
But the methods on how they did it and the process and the order was not.
Putting all things together from literature and from what we've seen in Rex and putting it all together, you can come rather close to what it must have looked like. But it is, I said the English, don't exaggerate the English sources. They're not too much. They're only the men of war that were documented.
Okay.
Nothing about merchants.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
Was the biggest part of all shipping.
Yep. Yep. Interesting.
She's over these glamorous three-mast things, but 99% of what sailed here,
yeah, was small stuff.
Just workaday little boats that didn't go all across the world, maybe to the Baltic Sea or something.
Okay, so it's more like local transports and things like that.
The vast majority.
Yeah.
Interesting. And you recent, and I don't know how recent it was, but I was reading you were involved in building sort of the like a virtual immersive ship, like where it's sort of like a video game, right? That was that your project?
Yeah. That was the Bitson shipbuilding project.
Yeah.
It's still on the internet, and it's about to be improved even. Within a few months, it's possible to fire a gun.
Oh, cool.
Such stuff. Not exactly what we did it for, but it was somewhere in I think 2006 when I got the idea. I was into flight simulators,
Hmm.
looking at all these moving parts, propellers turning, wheels coming out, and flaps and whatever. It suddenly struck me that this should be possible with ships as well. And the only ship that was documented well enough was the ship that Bitson in his book described. So I suggested that to the management in the Rijksmuseum, saying we could make a model, and a digital model, and people could walk around in it and point at something and ask, what is this? And get an answer. Well, it took some years for them, but finally, when other other institutions seemed to be interested, they brought up some enthusiasm for the idea. And just when we wanted to start in 2008, the financial crisis
Right.
struck, and all things were over. So in 12, I retired and thought, well, this was the end. It wasn't. There was a small Belgium forum, and there was a guy, and he did things with a Delft ship. It's a shipbuilding program can be downloaded free. And he did such marvelous things with it that I suddenly, at a certain moment, I asked him, would you like to build a 17th century ship with me? And he said yes. And from that moment on, every day he sent me a part which I collected and placed where it should be. And then after 3.5, almost 4 years, the ship was ready.
Oh, wow.
And then we had to find a partner who was interested in putting it online. And there was the Rijksdienst for Cultural and Heritage, the National Service.
Yeah.
And they were interested, and the model was translated into a program which made it accessible for people online.
Well,
Mhm.
gamers, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
it was a gaming, and the part of it is also a gaming
Gaming surroundings. You can walk around and look at the water.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But that's not really the point. That's just the cherry on top. The thing is that you can pull the whole ship apart to the tiniest bit and see every bit in context and know how and why it's there.
Plus, you get the original text.
So it's a research tool more.
Yeah.
How it is used by archaeologists as well.
Yeah, I was looking at it yesterday. I mean, it's really immersive. I mean, you can spend a lot of time going through it. I like it a lot.
And it's still improving.
Yeah, well, that's great. I'm glad it's still being worked on.
Still working on it. Yes.
And are you still building models yourself, or what are you doing these days?
I'm still building it. It's getting harder and harder because my eyes getting older and my hands are getting shakier, and so rigging is not exactly what I prefer to do nowadays without too much swearing. So I decided my last project is building a dockyard model, Navy dockyard model,
Hmm.
and from card,
Okay.
and it works. There was some ingenuity necessary, but at least it looks like one.
Yeah.
How big is it?
It's tiny. It's
Oh, really?
but it has all the frames, separate frames made out of cardboard. So it's
70 frames.
Wow.
a
That's
whole new
really cool.
this.
Are you documenting it? We're going to be able to see it?
It's on several forums.
Model Ship World?
Model Ship World too.
Excellent. I'll link over to it. What was kind of your, because I know you do a lot of paper now. Like, what's your favorite medium? Like, do you prefer paper over wood now, or is it kind of historically, what have you preferred to do?
I don't do wood anymore. I did wood all my life,
Mhm.
but when I retired, I got sort of fed up. Also, my view on modeling is different. I always modeled because I wanted to know things. It was search for how and what. And now I'm only aiming at how must it have looked like? Is this what a 17th century person would see if he was confronted with ships?
Interesting. How does that change your process?
Getting older?
No, in terms of like looking at it from, rather than being at a learning experience to figure out, how the process worked versus, just doing it to see more what the end result looked like.
I didn't get that.
Well, I'm curious because you had mentioned sort of how you approach it is different now, correct? You're really doing it to see what the finished model looks like. I'm just wondering, does that change how you sort of approach the build at all? Is it just kind of, does it change your process at all, or is it?
It's totally different because in the old days, call it the old days, 13 years ago,
Ye olden days.
I was mainly interested in the construction and the consequences of the construction for the outside. And nowadays the construction is
There is none.
there is no construction. I just glue paper.
Got it. I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah, interesting.
Much fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A wooden model takes years.
Yeah, that's true. That's one of the advantages. I can build a three-mast. It was 3 years ago, before my heart attack.
Not because of it.
I
no.
built 4 three-masted ships in 1 year.
And you threw a couple away. That
Wow.
was- yeah, I got this whole nah. Yeah,
I even burned one,
Shit.
little one, but the wooden one, which was very interesting. I had a paper, a wooden model three-master, and I didn't like it. And well, there were people who said, "Give it to me," but that would mean that my failures
would be out there
would be
in
spread.
in the wild.
I decided to set fire to it, and that was quite an interesting experience, because what I never had thought, but you set fire to the model, the rig is gone in less than a minute. Then the hull starts, and all the gun ports work as sort of they suck in the air, and you got flames as high as the top of my head.
Oh, wow.
It turned into ashes, except for
One part of the I think I had a big head on my mantle for a couple of years.
that
That
was
was
the
all
only
that was
thing
left.
left. And the rest was totally gone.
But it's no wonder they were so scared of fire ships in that era. It must have been horrible.
Yeah, that's interesting. I hope people don't take away from this that it's okay to go and burn their models now, though.
That would be a good idea.
So I'm sorry, Emil, were you saying something?
No.
Okay. I'm kind of curious your thoughts as we kind of bring to a close, but one of the things one of the things I'm trying to do with Sea-Watch, with Ships and Scale, bringing that back is try to, get ship modeling into the younger generation, or sort of make sure, keep the hobby going, right? We have, it tends to be a much older enthusiast. Like, what's your thoughts on reaching the next generation, or sort of where ship modeling as a hobby is going?
Yeah, well, this is model building is a niche.
Yep.
Not many people involved, and when you look at the forums, it looks as if it's very important and many people do it, but in fact, there are very little, and often there are very little doing it in a way which is more or less has some value. Let's be fair. There's nothing against building kits, absolutely nothing, but it's another ball game when you start a model of a ship that hasn't been there before. It's nothing, not in a way one is better or whatever than the other. It's a different ball game. So if you want to interest young people for this, well, the only thing you can do is do the best you can, and maybe one or two will be inspired. But there is so much. There are so much other things that people and young people are interested in nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
When I started shipbuilding, there was no internet. There was nothing. So there was a lot of time too.
Yep.
Otherwise, I stole it from my family. But nowadays, people have games and all sorts of social platforms. They don't have the time to build a ship.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
So I guess we just need to unplug the internet.
And on that, working in a modeling firm, there's for years there has been the sort of myth that the hobby is dying and nobody's modeling anymore. We don't see that in our sales, and also, of course, these are trains and that sort of thing, but there are regular like fairs all across the country, where people exhibit their layouts,
Hmm.
all kinds of stuff, and these are packed events always, and not only old people.
Yeah.
So people are interested.
Yeah, trains in particular, though, it seems like there's much
There's
more interest in trains.
talk about trains, yes, I know.
Because
And they are not paid to get those fairs.
They actually pay to get into those fairs.
oh wow, wow,
Yeah.
interesting. Actually, one last question for you, because you sort of mentioned that how scratch building's a totally different ball game from the kit building. I personally have not taken the plunge into scratch building yet. What would you say to somebody who wants to make that transition? Like, what would you advise?
Buy my book.
Yeah.
There
But
you go.
it takes you by the hand, but it lets you know.
I'm an old school teacher, and there's no way I could explain better how to make a model like that than what I did in the book.
Yep. Excellent. Well, we'll have everybody buy the book.
Comes in the parts with it. So
Well, listen, this has been really fantastic. I appreciate the time. It was great talking with you guys. Anything you want to sort of part with? Any words of wisdom for everybody?
That's your apartment.
I'm afraid no.
Other than buy the book, which I like. And so, well, guys, this has been great. I really do appreciate the time, and looking forward to following your build on Model Ship World, Ab. And thanks again. So, everybody, I hope you enjoyed it, and till the next time, we'll see you soon.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you. See you.